Welcome to Today in the News here on Vanguard Life. My name is Ololade Adeomi. Let's get started first with the Vanguard newspaper. Major headline on Vanguard says federal highways of Oro collapsed roads, making life unbearable for travelers. Our crater-like potholes, broken shoulders collapsed, drainage have turned highways into death traps. Residents, motorists declare deplorable condition of roads, say fatal crashes now common, call for urgent rehabilitation. We are doing our best, says Works Ministry. Tabana says, healing beyond headlines, Vanguard outreach restores hope for newspaper vendors, vulnerable Nigerians. Pro-gay female archbishop, Nigerians Anglican Church breaks from Canterbury. Tax stamp rollout would worsen inflation, beer sectoral group says. Reform must translate the opportunity, says NESG. Lower banner 2027 presidential poll, court asks to restrain Jonathan, INEC. Boko Haram waging war of evil, not religion, says a rabble. Nationwide strike looms as ASU non-academic staff of varsities issue ultimatum. And lastly, legal battle begins over minister's certificate. Away from the Vanguard straight into the Punch newspaper, major headline on the Punch says, Pengasan fires back as Shetima defends Dangote. VP warns Labour Union not to hold nation hostage. Pengasan vows repeat strike if members are sacked again. Pro-Dangote protesters accuse Pengasan of sabotage. Tobana says Enugu governor, minister trades words over alleged certificate forgery. 2027, lawyer asks court to stop Jonathan from contesting. Insecurity, Tinubu to meet Council of State, Police Thursday. Lower banner says Natasha resumes at Senate today after 6-month suspension. Court remands Lagos accountant over alleged 200 million naira theft. Away from the Punch straight into the Nation newspaper. Major headline on the Nation says, President to oil workers avoid strike that undermines economy. Tobana says local processing supports share revenue growth. Tinubu directs NACON to reduce 2026 ad fares. 2027, lawyer urges court to stop Jonathan from contesting. More controversies over minister's certificate saga. Lower banner says APC, PDP, LP, APGA, NNPP, others shun reps consultative meeting on constitution review. Away from the Nation, straight into the Guardian newspaper. Major headline on the Guardian says, Nelford kicks as institution hike tuition fees, charges for profit. Tabana says dissent to president appointing INEC officials swells. Certificate scandal. Mba behind my ordeals energy claims. Awujale stool. Over 30 aspirants screened as more just tool for throne. Tame inflation to enjoy reforms. World Bank advises Nigeria. Nigeria's food security goals stalled by flawed procurement policy, experts claims. Lower banner says US pressure triggers federal government. Senate pushback on alleged Christian persecution. 2027. Mimiko denies leading Southwest consultation team to woo Jonathan. Strike imminent as ASU mobilizes members, decries federal government inaction. And that's all we have on the front page of the newspapers this morning. Join us after the break for a quick analysis. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Today in the News here on Vanguard Life. My name is Ololade Adeomi. We have with us today Mr. Dayo Akitobi, the publisher Ikejejari today, Lekki today, and Ilukweju today. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Lolade. Good morning to all
the
our
rain
viewers.
Was not
on this very wet morning. Wet morning in Lagos.
We should be in bed right now, drinking coffee. But we are here.
Yes, we are.
I look into a top story for today. In an investigative report written by Vanguard, deteriorating condition of federal highways in Nigeria has made travel not only difficult but dangerous. More than 80% of fatal auto accidents are linked to badly maintained roads and poor management of highways. How would you assess the scale of the crisis on Nigeria's federal highway? Do you agree with this article written by Vanguard?
Yes, well, there's a lot of road traffic accidents that are attributed to the poor condition of roads. Of course, driver etiquette plays a major role as well in terms of overspeeding, vehicles that are not roadworthy. But the roads play a key role as well in terms of mishaps on the road and the risk to human life. Now, my view has always been that the federal government, I remember when in the immediate past administration, Minister of Works, Babatunde Raji Fashola, said that the federal government is maintaining or repairing or rebuilding or building anew at least one or two new roads in every state. But that it's just such a humongous prospect that they should pay so much attention perhaps to one part, that we should remember that federal means the whole country. So when we're complaining about the fact that Lagos to Abeokuta road through Songwater is bad and it's not been fixed, his response was, but we are doing Lagos Ibadan Expressway. Can we be doing Lagos Ibadan Expressway, be doing Apapa Oshodi Bagada Expressway, and then do Lagos Ibadan Expressway as well? Three major roads in Lagos alone, when we have 35 other states to be responsible for. So that what they do is that they try and make sure that they are uniform, that they don't overemphasize one area over the other, so they don't get accused of nepotism, sectionalism, preferential, all the isms. So they so they don't get accused of that. He said that they are very careful in how they choose to make sure that there is even apportionment. So to me, the ultimate solution, and we've seen it happen in some places, that the state governments in whose jurisdiction these roads lie should be the ones who take responsibility, even if it is a federal road. I've noticed that if the state government fixes the road, the federal government will reimburse them. They've always done it. They did it under Buhari. I think President Tinubu has done it as well. So the state governors, the problem is the allocation the state governors get. They already have their plans for it. They made their budget. Federal road, it's not my responsibility. I'm not taking from my money to do it. So it's not in their budget. But it is their people so far. When a road traffic accident occurs, it is not Abuja that has suffered a loss per se. Well, Abuja has suffered a loss, but the immediate direct loss from the family to the community to the state where the thing occurred, right? Even a federal road, no matter how federal it is still within a state.
Yeah.
It passes through a state. So we should not use issues of jurisdiction, issues of ownership, issues of where it passes through. That should not be the criteria. The most important criteria should be the welfare and well-being of Nigerians and of the people of my state, my constituency. How can I keep them safe? How do I keep them alive? So I put it more at the feet of the governors, especially now that they are receiving more money from subsidy savings. Some states are getting triple what they used to get. So they have extra money that they can allocate to keeping federal roads. Some of them, the problem is they know they will get reimbursed, but sometimes it takes a while. So they are thinking, my money will be tied down for 6 months, for God knows how long before I can get it back. Cost, value of funds, the value is diminishing with inflation. By the time they pay me back, I can't do as much with it as I could do if I spend it now. So they are reluctant because they feel like it's not their responsibility. But I think the first responsibility of every state government is their immediate constituents, which is the people that live within that state. And the roads are critical for commerce, critical for work life, critical for every aspect of the quality of our life. Everything we do, except maybe in the riverine areas where they use water transport. In the cities and even the rural areas, the roads are key to life because the roads are what aid movement, transportation of food, transportation of goods, transportation to work. So the roads are critical to our everyday existence and they should receive a greater priority. And I can understand the federal government's problem. That is 36 states plus the FCT. Can you begin to address every road that needs attention in every state? So that goes back to this issue of regionalization, devolving powers to the subnationals, right? The federal government can't do everything, right? So they should begin to reduce some of the centralization of authority from Abuja, pass more of the responsibilities to the states. Then let states too pass some of their responsibilities to the local governments. The same way that we have federal roads, we have state roads, and we have local. If I venture to say, it's the local government roads that are the most in any community. Because for every one state road that passes through your area, There are 25, 30, 40, 50 local government roads within that community where the houses, where the residences are. So power should devolve. So let's take it from the bottom. Local government should fix state roads and ask for reimbursement. States should fix federal roads and ask for reimbursement. Federal roads should appeal to God
And ask for reimbursement.
and ask for reimbursement from there.
Okay, so beyond just funding, do you think there are other factors, that have led to this widespread challenge and deterioration?
Well, we lack a maintenance culture in Nigeria. We have a tendency to do all these fancy projects and launch them with fanfare. The president will come and cut the ribbon. We will inaugurate all these projects, call out the marching bands. I've even seen where they do uniform. I should be to go and inaugurate a bridge. So we do all that and go back to the road a year later or to the project, whatever it is, and you already see signs of deterioration. That's because we're very good at initiating projects, implementing projects, but the follow-up, which is the most important part, is the maintenance aspect. Buying a car is easy, but keeping it up year after year, keeping it in good shape, especially with the state of our roads, things like that, with lots of substandard fuel, various things that could lead to its deterioration. So it requires a lot of care and maintenance. Same thing with our roads, building them is the easiest part. That's the truth. Look at even private individuals under the Buhari administration. He did PPP, public-private participation, with people like Dangote, where they got tax credits to build roads. The Apapa Osho, the Bagada Expressway was built by Dangote, and he used top-notch, first-rate materials. That was the first time we had concrete roads in Nigeria. They laid down iron rods and used concrete. So that road probably has a lifespan of 50 years before anything happens to it. So these are options government can explore. Is the big industrialists, people who have factories, right? Like along that Lagos Abeokuta Expressway, around Songo area, there are plenty factories there whose welfare is affected by the poor roads. Their trailers can't move their goods easily. The goods take forever to get to the ports, or from the ports, their raw materials to the factory. Those ones should take the initiative, like Dangote has done, in exchange for tax credits or tax holidays or various other financial instruments that will help them net off their expenditure. They can go into partnership with government and fix roads. But I like the approach Dangote took, knowing that our maintenance culture is poor. If he had built a regular road, he knows that within no time, especially it being a federal road, they start pushing responsibility to each other. Mm-hmm. Look, for example, this is the rainy season. Tarmac, that thing we lay, that tar that we lay on the road, it hates water. And here where we pour drainage, so you have pools of water. If you go out this morning, you see stagnant water, floods everywhere. That stagnant water is eating away at the tar. So by the time the water recedes, you just see potholes appearing overnight. On the road leading to here, there are potholes there today that were not there yesterday because of this downpour. So after a while of complaints and cars falling, state government will come, tie it over again. That tar is just waiting for the next water to fall before it eats away. So maintenance requires more than just superficial cover of the pothole. It's much more than that. So the approach Dangote took of using is expensive, but it's durable. That road does not need any repair. You will not see a pothole on it for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 decades because he used high quality materials. Government will say, well, we can't afford to pay for concrete roads. So go into partnership with industrial conglomerates, multinationals, those who have deep pockets, give them tax abatement and let them do the work.
According to the article written by Vanguard, the Federal Ministry of Works and federal agencies have claimed that the major reason for this deterioration is as a result of constraints such as poor funding, bad contracts, and contractors without the capacity. What is your view on how contractors, are being awarded this project?
Who is responsible? That's passing the buck by saying the responsibility for the poor state of our roads is with the contractor, is with the poor standards. Who awarded the contractor? Who did the due diligence? Before the contractor was awarded the job, did you check his work history? Has he built roads like that before? Is he a civil structural engineer? Did he graduate? Is he a member of Nigerian Society of Engineers? Is he a member of CORE and Council of Registered Engineers of Nigeria? What are his qualifications? Show me the roads he has done before. Let's go and visit the roads and see the condition they're in. Were they built properly? Look, any contract award has oversight. That's why all our legislators clamor for jeeps all the time. They want brand new jeep every time. What is it for? They say oversight responsibility. What is oversight? Oversight simply means that the committee they are in, they have to go and do not on the phone to say how is it going. No, I have to go and see to make sure that they are doing the thing according to how we agreed they should do it. So likewise, at contract level, right? The regulator or the MDA that awarded the contract has oversight responsibility. It's not just the award of the contract to make sure that all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted and everything is above board. Every ministry has, apart from a procurement department, they also have technical departments that are supposed to approve the quality or the standard of material you say you want to use. So then the oversight department's responsibility now is to follow up when the contract is being done to make sure that everything, because our tendency in Nigeria to cut corners, right? It takes shortcuts, cut corners. So corruption plays a major role because in contract awards now, the civil servants and the bureaucrats who are in charge of awarding the contract, they would have loaded it so that their own is inside it as well. Meanwhile, the contractor too is trying to make his own profit, but he knows he has to take part of the money and settle the people who helped him to get the contract. So he cuts corners so that his profit is still complete. So he might reduce the quality of the material he wants to do. He might reduce the quantity. Perhaps he had planned to use 1,000 bags of cement. He may end up using 400, which now, of course, calls to question the integrity of the structure. You see, so it all goes back down. Every problem we have in Nigeria goes back to the issue of corruption. And so, if you see a road that has issues, if you check its history, somewhere along the line, there was a compromise. Whether in the maintenance, in the contract award, in the building of it, in the approval. Because every contract that's done, there's something called a completion certificate before you get your balance, before you get the balance of your money. There's a completion certificate. Before you collect that completion certificate, government would have gone to inspect the work. Number one, to make sure you completed it. Number two, to make sure you did it according to specification. So until they issue that completion certificate, you can't get your balance. So how are people getting balances when the work was done shoddily? So it all goes back down to corruption, responsibility of the parties in charge, regulator doing his work properly, and then us as individuals. See, I don't like it when we blame government alone for everything. We should look at ourselves too and say, what role I as an individual, do I have some responsibility in this? And the truth is, yes, as Nigerians, all of us individually have our own blame in everything that's going wrong in this country. It's not only just government. We play a role in it as well. So everybody needs to have a reorientation as to mindset about what it means to be a Nigerian.
Away from that into our second story, a legal suit has been filed by a minister named Naji against the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, UNN, challenging its refusal to produce or confirm his academic transcript and certificate. The university had issued conflicting statements. One letter in 2023 attested that he graduated in 1985. But in May 2025, another letter claimed there was no record of his graduation. The minister claims this is part of a politically motivated effort to discredit him, possibly driven by a governor who seeks his removal. He had a media briefing recently where he tendered a graduation brochure showing his name and photo among the 1985 graduating class, and also a registrar letter showing name variation, Naji Uchenna G versus Geoffrey Uchechukwu Naji. And the minister argues that, many Igbo names have variant forms. How strong is the minister's case in insisting that, the university provides or produces transcript?
Well, this matter is really very simple and straightforward. As a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, he went through a DSS screening and he went through Senate confirmation. At those two levels, this discrepancy should have been sorted out. There's no way when he was being screened by the DSS, being investigated by the DSS for possible appointment as a minister, that he would not have noticed a discrepancy because they would have investigated his transcript, his certificate. So if they did their job according to the way they should, if in truth there was a mix-up of his name whereby maybe in his degree maybe it's his surname first, comma, then his first name, middle name. We've seen that happen. Then in other cases, you have first name first, middle name, then last name. So it's a very possible error. Very simple. It's very, very possible, and it happens. So in some instances, they put your surname first. Other instances, they put your first name first. So, but it's very easy to confirm and reconcile. So my question is, when it was being screened, how come this discrepancy was not noticed and called to attention? How did he pass the Senate screening? How did he pass security screening from the law enforcement agencies? Then how did he get to Senate and get confirmed without anybody raising the issue of the fact that, wait now, the name you've given us here is different from the name on your certificate, even though maybe the three names are present, but they are mixed up, so it could be somebody else. I mean, it's not without possibility that you have John David Smith as one person, and you have a Smith David John as another living, breathing human being. So how do we know who is who? So if the three names exist, but they are ABC on one document and they are CBA on another document, you have to reconcile them. So the DSS fell down on the job, the Senate screening fell down on the job. Otherwise, these issues have been reconciled before he got appointed. So who is telling the truth? I'm not bothered. Whether he held a press conference, he showed that during the graduation of UNN in 1985, look, I'm the one sitting here, and look at my name. But my name here was different from my name here. And UNN has written a letter to say, sorry, we don't know such a person, never graduated here. We show he started, but he never completed. Who is telling the truth? I don't know, and I don't care. What I know is that another grievous error or loophole has managed to embarrass us as Nigerians and embarrass the administration. It's particularly bad for this administration for two reasons. Number one, it's in a very sensitive ministry, a ministry that is pivotal and critical to the future of the country, to our youth, and to the way of the world today. I mean, AI is so prevalent in everything we do in our work and daily lives now that the Ministry of Technology should have somebody that is totally above board and focused, not distracted by issues of qualifications. And it is a key ministry because every way we are going now in terms of the world, we are moving away from mechanization into the digital ecosystem. And that ministry is the one that is driving that transition. So it does need to have somebody who is fully focused, because we can't say for sure whether he is or he is not in terms of competence now, because there's a lot of dust. UNN is saying one thing, he is saying something else. Who is telling the truth? We don't know. So we don't need this kind of scandal. So that's number one, is that it's happening to the wrong person at the wrong time. Number two, for this particular administration, is we've had issues of certificate scandal in this. We've had it in many administrations, especially to do with NYSC. Remember that very bright, upcoming Minister of Finance, Kemi Adeosun. She got brought down by this issue of certificate scandal, right? And we didn't learn from that. At that point is when, once again, because that was an international embarrassment. She had already started featuring on the global stage
as a minister,
as the minister, Nigerian minister, and she was highly regarded for her to be brought down by such a scandal. And we never heard from her again, and it's Nigeria's loss, because I think she could have done very well for the country. She was very capable and competent. So when that happened, then in this particular administration, the head of the administration himself, during the campaign season, had issues of certificate scandal, and it created a lot of dust until it was finally resolved when I think University of Chicago came out with a definitive statement that yes, he was our student, he graduated here, this. Until that happened, before the dust settled. But when that controversy was raging, it created a lot of distraction and created a lot of doubt and mistrust. So for it to now be happening again within the same administration, it's not only an embarrassment, it's a total distraction from the business of governance that's very serious and doesn't need all the petty issues. So I'm very, very distraught about it, and I wish they would quickly resolve it, because it's resolvable. One person is saying the other, another, oh yeah, everybody come to the table, bring everything. UNM, bring your own records. Oh yeah, minister, bring your own records. It's not rocket science now. We should be able to resolve it easily, instead of one person talking to the press, another person releasing press, and we're all confused. So if you ask me now, who is telling the truth? I don't know. I can't tell you.
Is it plausible that academic dispute like this can be weaponized as, a political tool?
In politics, all gloves are off. Anytime you have an advantage over your opponent or somebody that is in the opposition or somebody you want to sideline, you use every tool available to you. But having said that, there's still a caveat. Every tool that you use should be unimpeachable. By that, I mean, you don't make up stories about people if you're not sure. You don't begin to push an agenda against somebody. So there's the victim, well, the accused in this case, or the alleged in this case, is saying that it's a state governor that is behind this, that for political reasons, because they don't like each other or they are in opposing camps or whatever, the governor is trying to get him sidelined. So the question I would ask the governor is, where's your proof if you're the one pushing this? Because I know that in politics, it's a dirty game. And you seize the moment. If your opponent is down, instead of you giving him a hand to lift him up while he's down there is when you kick him. That's politics for you. So if he's using the tools at his disposal to either discredit an opponent, as long as he's doing it above board and it is honest and it is true. However, I would also now then caution and say, Mr. State Governor, do you believe that this man is good for Nigeria? Do you believe that where he is in his position, he can do well for the country, or he's doing well for the country? If that's the case, you have to sheath your political sword and subjugate your personal dislike for him for the interest of Nigeria at large. So politics, as dirty a game as it still is supposed to have as its primary driving force the welfare and overall good of the commonwealth of the country. So if this man is good for the country, the governor should sheath his sword and leave him alone. Alternatively, it's just a rumor. Maybe the minister is using that to detract attention or to push the issue away from the fact that something has happened to do with him himself, and he's saying it's a political witch hunt. It's easy to push everything off as political witch hunt. Oh, they don't like me, so they're trying to get rid of you. Where's your proof? It's all just always nocturnal meetings and backdoor dealing, so we don't really know. But I don't put it past it being politics, and likewise at the same time I don't put it past the fact that certificate scandal is a thing that's part of us in Nigeria.
Who do you think the burden of truth should lie on, the university or the minister himself?
Remember, when the minister was being screened, when he put himself forward for ministership, or when he was sworn in, he took an oath. And that oath, apart from it being a commitment to a higher power upstairs, it's also a contract between you and the people of Nigeria. And that oath, you swore it to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, to serve the people to the best of your capability, etc., etc., etc. So the burden of proof lies on you to make sure that what you have presented is correct. He is saying what he presented is correct, but there is an administrative error. If that's the case, then he's okay. So UNN should now come and corroborate that, okay, yes, it was an administrative error whereby his name was transposed, his first name transposed to, or they should debunk his claim, which they have done. But the problem for me is there are two different letters from the same UNN. There's one from, I think, 1985 that say you are a student, you graduated from us, you finished. Then this
one with no record at all.
One with no record at all. So UNN needs to clarify his position for us to understand. And the minister's press conference yesterday, he's shown something as well. So burden of proof lies on both of them. Both of them.
Thank you very much for joining us today, Mr. Dayo Akintobi. It was nice having you in us today.
My pleasure always on this wet, cold morning. Thank you for the coffee.
That was Mr. Dayo Akintobi, publisher Ikeja GRA Today, Lekki Today, and Ilupeju Today. Do well to follow us on all our social media platforms as seen on your screen, and on our website for up-to-date stories at www.vanguardngr.com. My name is Ololade.